Hey guys, what's going on? So today we have the next part of my CD collection. We're almost done. We should be done in about, I'd say like 2 to 3 more parts. I'll try to get through everything quickly, like without like rushing. But anyways, background, we're listening to Necrotic Disgorgement, Suffocation, Shrink Wrap. Great shit, brutal death metal from the early 2000s. I think it's come out in what, 2004? But yeah, cool shit put out through Comatose. If you like Regurgitation, Tales of Necrophilia, this is basically like the spiritual successor to that album. So anyways, first up we have just a nostalgia album. This is like one of the first CDs I ever bought with my own money. And I never listened to this even for nostalgia. This is the Raconteurs with Consoler of the Lonely. I had a weird obsession with like Jack White in like elementary school, so yeah. And if you don't know the Raconteurs, if you know like the White Stripes, which everyone knows, this is just one of his other bands, and it's just okay, honestly. Like, this album didn't really hold up that well as far as nostalgia goes for me. Like, it's nostalgic, but if I heard it now, I'd probably dislike it. Yeah, there's better alternative rock than this. But yeah, Raconteurs, Consoler of the Lonely. What have we got? This is just like, okay. Just like burn CDs in here. This is like a, whoa, this is scratched to shit. I don't even think this would ever work anymore. You can't see. But I remember my dad made this for me when I was like a little kid. I was like 6 years old. And it's just songs that I liked when I was a kid. And this is just a Ramones compilation. It's just like a super long greatest hits. It's like 30-something songs. I remember I used to listen to this in middle school. Alphabetically, the Ramones CD is why that's in this order. And it's in this like beat to shit jewel case. Yeah, it's kind of a weak start here. But here we go. Now it's getting better. Got some Ramones stuff. I have the first 3 albums on vinyl. And then Road to Ruin, 4th album. This was my favorite from them for a while. I'm not sure what my favorite is now, but this is a great album though. There's the album cover. It's back. This has a lot of bonus tracks, which I don't like. I mean, they're not bad bonus tracks, but it's just like other remixes and like live tracks. I don't know, demos. Yeah, this is a really good album. This is one of the more like out of the first 4. This one's probably the most diverse. Like, there's a lot of slower, more ballady type songs like like Needles and Pins. What else? Don't Come Close. But there's some other great songs like It's a Long Way Back. I Don't Want You. I Just Want to Have Something to Do. And there's of course like the overplayed I Want to Be Sedated. But yeah, this is a really good album though. I like this one a lot. The Ramones are one of my favorite, like, just simple, like, catchy punk bands. I think that's interesting. The booklet really just pictures of the band. I don't need to talk about this too much, because everybody knows the Ramones. But yeah, great shit though. Road to Ruin. Then skipping a shit ton of albums. This one I pretty much never listened to. This is a really weak album, but this was like a gift from an old friend back in like middle school. Mondo Bizarro. I know this is generally regarded as one of their weaker albums, and I can see why. Strength to Endure is a really good song. I don't remember much about the rest of this album. Maybe I should re-listen to it, but yeah, this is like 90s era Ramones. This is probably like an older press or an OG press of it, honestly. Let's see, it feels like it. Because like I've noticed older CDs, like jewel cases from the 90s, are like a lot thicker. I know that's such a weird nitpicky thing, but I like the way the disc looks on this. I think it's really, I don't know, appetizing. What's the booklet for this one? Just band photos and lyrics. Yeah. I gotta re-listen to this one. It's been way too long. But yeah. No, this is Mondo Bizarro. Next up, just another greatest hits compilation, another CD I've had since like middle school. Pretty good compilation, you know. It has all the like popular songs. Like, it has Blitzkrieg Bop, Beat on the Brat, Judy is a Punk, Commando. I'm surprised there's no Glad to See You Go on here. KKK Took My Baby Away, Pet Cemetery. It's not a bad compilation. I really like the disc on this CD because it has like little grooves around, like it's supposed to be like a record. You can't see, the camera doesn't really pick it up, but there are little grooves that you could actually like feel on the disc. It's really cool. But yeah, just band photos in the booklet. I don't really need to show it. But yeah, just a greatest hits compilation. Pretty much what you'd expect from a Ramones greatest hits. Cool shit. So now finally we got some brutal death metal. Really good shit. I mean, I just mentioned this album earlier. Regurgitation, Tales of Necrophilia, OG Press, 1999, one of the best brutal death metal albums of all time. There's a reason why so many fucking kids on Instagram have this guy as their profile pic. This album rules. I don't know if I'd say it's like in my top 10 anymore, but it's definitely up there. It's one of my favorites. But up through Ablated Records, this is the only full-length Regurgitation ever released. Before this, there was just a demo, and then after this, there was an EP called Clitoral Dectomy. But anyways, the best way I could describe Regurgitation, if you've never heard them, is like, they're pretty old school sounding. They don't sound like modern brutal death metal. They are a little technical and a little blasty, but they've got some like beatdowny riffs, similar to maybe like Dying Fetus. The vocals, there's a lot of alternation between lows and highs, which is really cool. I can't think of any bands really to compare Regurgitation to, but if you like Deeds of Flesh, Dying Fetus, maybe Flesh Grind, I don't know. I can't think of many bands to compare them to. They are just a unique sounding brutal death metal band. This is just a really pissed off sounding album too, especially the highs just sound really hostile. And songs like Out of the Womb, Acid Enema, my favorite on here, Cadaveric Impregnation. There's also guest vocals from Joe Wolf, who would later be in Heinous Killings. At the time he was in Clean Flesh, and I believe Menstrual Cycle. But yeah, really short album too. There's only like 7 real songs on here. 5, 6. Yeah, there's 7 songs, and then Fetal Suffocation is just an outro. But yeah, like a acoustic outro. But yeah, this is a really unique album. Awesome album cover. Love the iconic Keeping It Fucking Sick, which Ablated Records, all their old CDs would have that on the spine. Band photo. This is such a funny looking band photo because they all look so like pissed. Like they're just like you just, it's like POV, you just said something really stupid and they're all just looking at you like, dude, really? I don't know. Love the artwork on this disc, very reminiscent of like Cannibal Corpse, The Bleeding. Oh, really sick artwork here. I know on the original t-shirt, that has like the back print. Yeah, I love this CD, there's just cool artwork everywhere. And I know the reissue that Hell's Headbangers did has even more like extra artwork, which I think is really cool. But yeah, this is an original press from Ablated Records. Or put out by Ablated Records. Thank yous. Lyrics. The lyrics on this album are really sick. More band fuzz. Pretty much, the lyrics are basically what you'd come to expect. Fuck, I feel like listening to this album now. The lyrics on this are what you'd come to expect from a band with song titles like, you know, Repulsive Genital Disfigurement, Fermenting Vaginal Excrements, Acid Enema, you know, like, it's, like, just fun, super gory, sexual, weird shit, you know, really edgy, fun stuff. But yeah, love this album so much. This album always gave me a really strong, like, B-horror movie kind of vibe, too, with the way some of the riffs sound. You'd see what I mean, like, if you heard, like, the intro to, like, Seed of the Sanguinary. But yeah, I love this album so much. Regurgitation, Tales of Necrophilia. I'm gonna put this aside, I feel like listening to this one now. But yeah, cool shit. Next up, we got some of my absolute favorite stuff. Repudiation. I have both the demo and the compilation that has the demo. I'll show the compilation first because this pressing was chronologically released first. But actually, no, I'll show this first because this has all the songs from this, so I might as well. But this original demo came out in I think 96 or 97, and it's my favorite death metal demo of all time. If you don't know Repudiation, if you like Devourment and like Internal Bleeding and old school slam bands like that, you gotta hear this if you haven't. These guys, in my opinion, are the first like pure, more modern sounding slam band. They don't sound like 2000 slam, it still sounds like 90s New York groovy death metal. But these guys had everything. They had like Internal Bleeding had the slams, but their vocals weren't quite super guttural yet. Afterbirth had the gutturals, but they weren't quite full on slam yet. Repudiation had it all. And like before Devourment, this is like probably the most brutal shit to come out before Devourment, and I guess Discord was out at the time. But as far as like the groovy slammier stuff goes, this is probably the most brutal shit at the time. Awesome artwork. I have a long sleeve of this shirt that actually just got put out. 4 songs: Fall of Oppression, Decimation, Eternal Depredation, and Decay of Humanity. Members of Repudiation later went on to form this band called Entorturement, who's really good. I need to get their CD. It's almost as good as Repudiation, but this is a reissue put out through Carnivorous Records last year. And it's a very good sounding reissue. Something really cool. On the disc, there's like the album title like kind of etched in there, Purging of Impurity, which I also think is a really sick album title. But yeah, this shit is just super groovy, super hip hop influenced, but also brutal as fuck. Just super low guttural vocals, you know, raw production. So the interesting thing with this copy, so on the front of the booklet you have the original, you know, the original artwork, and then behind it there's like a redone, which I don't like the redone art as much. I'm really glad that it came with this little slide. This has a little like biography about the band, which is really cool because it's really hard to find information on the internet about this band because they're relatively obscure. I mean, I see them more appreciated now on the internet than I did when I first discovered these guys, but otherwise, like, fucking, it's really hard to find like information about the members of the band or the history. But yeah, you just have all the lyrics in here. Yeah, some of the most underrated death metal like ever. It's such a shame this guy's never put on full length. They actually had it full length that they almost, I don't know why it was never released. I guess they broke up and just didn't release it, and they never released it after breaking up. And I know a lot of members of this band are like dead. But they were supposed to put out a full length called Encrypted and Blasphemy, and it was never released. So I don't know if one day we'll ever get to hear it, but I'd love to though, because I can only imagine how awesome it would be to hear this type of shit with, you know, better production and, you know, full length quality. But yeah, Repudiation, Purging of Impurity. I don't know why I looked at this spine. I know this shit by heart. Purging of Impurity. Oh, this CD was a gift from my buddy Drew also, so if you're watching this, thank you, man. And then I've got, before I got that, I had this, the compilation put out through Burning Dogma, which it has the demo, and then it has some, like, other stuff, like some songs from a split they did, and then re-recordings of Eternal Depredation and Decay of Humanity. This is a really shitty sounding CD, though. It's, like, really quiet. But it is a cheap CD. I got this for, like, $15 off of Discogs a couple years ago. It's just nice to own Repudiation shit in general. But yeah, really cool. I don't listen to this one as much as I do this one because this is just a better sounding CD. Like I said, everything's mixed really quiet on here. It's in here just like credits and thank yous. But yeah, I really like this artwork. I think it was done by Mike Majewski actually. But yeah, you know, it's just more Repudiation. It's just a compilation of all that shit. It's like the 138 of Repudiation basically. It's just a self-titled. Although I hate how on the spine the text is like upside down. But yeah, Repudiation, cool shit. Love this band so much, can't shill them enough, really. So anyways, put this stack back and then we'll get some more. Alright, next up, whoa, fuck. Next up we got some war metal. I haven't talked about that genre in a very long time on here. We got, whoa, fuck. Okay. Revenge, Scum Collapse, Eradication. I really wish I had the first two albums. It's not like my top priority or anything, but it'd be nice to have those at some point. Because, well, I have the second album on cassette, I forget. But the first album, Triumph, Genocide, Antichrist, that shit rules. This one's good too. It's pretty much what you'd come to expect from a Revenge album. They all kind of sound pretty similar. You know, it's really good shit. I used to be more into war metal when I was like probably like 16, but I don't really listen to it that much anymore. But when I'm in the mood, Revenge always hits the spot. They're a great band and one of the best bands in the genre. Just very consistent. You know, really fucking aggressive vocals. Just, I remember hearing about Revenge when I was like 14, first getting into like metal YouTube and seeing everybody talk about the whole Total Rejection and everybody getting that fucking box set. That shit was inescapable. And I remember hearing them like when I was first getting into like extreme metal in general and it being like way too much for me and just being very confused. And then I came back to them like less than a year later and they immediately clicked with me. This is, if you're into extreme music, like I'm sure you like Revenge, unless you're just one of those people who like has to have dynamics in their music, because you know Revenge is a very simple joy of a band. All their stuff kind of sounds the same, and it's just all super heavy, super scary and aggressive sounding. But yeah, Us and Them, High Power. That intro track is so fucking good. It's such a great build up. But yeah, I haven't listened to Revenge in a while. Like I said, I kind of have to be in the mood to listen to war metal, but it's a pretty cool genre, at least on the surface level. I think beyond that, there's some pretty generic bands, but Revenge is fucking awesome, and Conqueror as well is great. And of course, obviously, I love Blasphemy. I've got the poster over there. But yeah, Revenge, Scum Collapse, Eradication. Next up, we got some really cool, like, newer shit. This is Reviled with Matriarchal Despoilment. Cool, newer brutal death metal band from Texas, kind of technical, a little more old school sounding. Similar to like early Disgorge, Gorgasm, like kind of like the late 90s or 2000s unique leader style. I love this album cover. Very reminiscent of, like I just showed, Tales of Necrophilia and also the Necrotic Disgorgement album we're listening to. I mean, I'm literally just saying because it has 2 characters and one of them's raping the other one. But this shit's really good, though. Put Out Through Match Brutality is just an EP. I think they're actually working on a full length right now, so I can't wait to see that. But yeah, awesome shit, though. If you like old school brutal death metal and you don't like a lot of the more modern bands that want to be EP Trinity, then you'll probably like this. But yeah, really cool shit. And Brendan, the drummer, is also in Broad again now, which is really cool. But yeah, awesome shit. Reviled, Matriarchal Despoilment. Like this one a lot. I remember this was pretty high on my end of the year list from 2021. Next we got one of my favorite fucking albums, Total Holy Grail. Scattered Remnants, Inherent Perversion. Really glad I finally own this CD. This is one of my most wanted CDs for a while. And I paid a pretty penny for it. Like, I think I paid like 50 or 60 for it, but it was totally worth it. If you don't know Scattered Remnants, really unique, groovy sort of brutal death metal from Massachusetts, mid to late 90s. I think this came out in like 95. But yeah, this was self-released. It's really rare, really hard to find CD. Even hard to find, not only is it an expensive CD, but it's hard to find just for sale on the internet. But I love this one so much. Great EP. It's about half an hour long, if not, it's like a little under half an hour. So it's about full length, but there's 5 songs on here. Technically 4, because one of them is an interlude. My favorite on here is Vaginal Vomit, but the title track has arguably my favorite slam of all time. Shit's so good. Just super groovy. But these guys have more to their sound than just groove. They don't necessarily sound like Internal Bleeding or something like that. They groove just as hard as like a band like Internal Bleeding, but they also have some like melodic kind of doomy parts in there too. I know that sounds really boring for a brutal death metal band, but trust me, when you hear it from these guys, you'll know what I mean. It's really good. There's some pretty kind of melodic sounding riffs here and there too. But yeah, masterpiece of a fucking EP though. Love this shit so much. Also, I love the mix on here. It's very raw and gritty sounding, but it's really sharp and like has a good nice punch to it. I need to get the demo before this and then the full length after this, Destined to Fail. But yeah, don't really have much else to say. If you don't know Scattered Remnants, listen to Vaginal Vomit. It's a great fucking song. A lot of hardcore influence and a lot of the more chuggy riffs on here. Vocals are really impressive, really crazy, super high highs on here. Then the lows are a little more kind of OSDM-y sounding, like they're not like guttural, but they're just regular lows. But yeah, love this shit so much. Scattered Remnants, Inherent Perversion. Next up we got a CD I don't really listen to all that much. It's Sepsism, Purulent Decomposition. It's a good album, and it's one of the more popular, like, underground, old-school brutal death metal albums, and it's solid, but it's just never been my favorite. I feel like if this album came out in, like, 1993 or something, people would call it OSDM, because it's really not that brutal, honestly. Especially because the vocals are pretty much just old-school style death metal vocals. And that doesn't mean it's a bad album, but I'm just not really in the mood to listen to this one very much. There's some groovier moments on here that are really cool, but overall, like, I don't know, this has always been an album that's just a very, like, B-tier album for me. Like, it's good, but it's not great. I don't know. These guys are from California. They don't sound like California brutal death metal. Like, they don't sound like Disgorge or Deeds of Flesh. They've got a fairly unique sound, but like I said, it's not the most, it's like one of the least brutal death metal albums I could think of. I'm not saying that as an insult, it's just like a fact. Like, this album is not really that nasty, but it's good though still. There's definitely substance here. Great musicianship. There's definitely energy on here. But yeah, it's definitely more rooted in like old school death metal than brutal death metal, even though it's considered a brutal death metal album. I feel like I think that's mostly because of the era this came out in, because this came out more like the late 90s. Like, what year did this even come out? It doesn't even fucking say. But I have an OG press of this. I bought it off of an old friend. But yeah, Sepsis and Purulent Decomposition. Cool shit nonetheless. I just kind of have to be in the mood for this one. But yeah. Next up, we got some of the only thrash that I'll ever listen to from time to time. Sepultura. I've got Beneath the Remains and Arise, and I also have Roots. But anyways, Beneath the Remains is my favorite from them. It's basically just Rain and Blood with death metal vocals. I mean, obviously it's more than that, but that's the best way I could describe it. Love this album. When I'm in the mood to listen to thrash, it's usually either this or Slayer. You guys all know old Sepultura and good shit. The first 2 albums are also very good as well. Those are albums that, like, I need to get, but I don't need. Like, I like them, but I would probably not very often listen to them if I own them. just like this is like a once in a while sort of listen. But yeah, love Beneath the Remains, Inner Self, title track, this shit rules. And then Arise, the album after, it's very good, but it's also really overrated. Like the first 3 songs are great, and the rest of it's just filler. I will say Under Siege, Regnum Mare, that is a very good song as far as like not being filler for the rest of the album. But yeah, I really like the album cover on this one. Not much else I could say really. The first 3 songs literally are great though. The title track rules. Yeah, Sepultura, Rise. Then I got Roots. I know a lot of people shit on it, but honestly I think Roots is a pretty good album as far as like new metal goes. Like the first like 8 songs I hear are good. There's some filler in the second half, but the first half of this album is really good as far as that style sort of goes. If you're not super close-minded about that style of metal, this is a pretty fun album. It's a very, very rare listen for me, but it's a good album though nonetheless. I think people just shit on it because it's not thrash. I mean, we all know how thrash fans are. Not to generalize. But I kind of hate that about thrash metal, is like if a band strays a little further from the genre, like, oh, it's fucking terrible, it's like garbage. But like, I don't know, I like this album. I think it's good. This is also the first thing I ever heard from Sepultura as well, was the title track. I remember it was like one of the first things I ever heard with like harsher vocals. But yeah, really cool shit though nonetheless. I like Roots once in a while. But yep. I guess that's it for this video though. I could probably finish this in like 2 more parts, maybe 1 if I like get through everything quick enough in the next part. And then I'll get back to my usual album reviews and shit, because there's a lot of shit that I've been meaning to review for a while. But yeah, I hope you guys enjoyed this video though. Don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe.